Back in the year 2002, I was backpacking in India. As you can see, I was a little younger then, but still had the same beard. It didn't mean much to me then, but in 2002, tourism in Israel was its slowest point in the last 25 years, resulting from a series of terror incidents. One evening, I was sitting with fellow Israeli backpackers in a little tiny Indian restaurant. Each of us told how much money he had to save and how hard he had to work in order to travel to India. All except for one. Daniel, an Israeli tour guide in his mid-50s, who has been traveling in India for about a year now. When each of us told about the money he had to save, Daniel told us that he actually saves money by traveling in India. Being an Israeli tour guide in the year 2002, it made more sense to him to let his apartment in Jerusalem and travel in India than to have very little work and struggle to make a living. Daniel was a victim of terror. In the tourism industry, terror acts are like icebergs. When we're hearing about terror incidents or watching the news, we are only looking at the tip of the iceberg, but there is so much underwater. There are tourist attraction and tourism jobs and people whose life depend on tourism, such as Daniel. When terrorists hit a country, they create icebergs that are aimed to make a country sink, together with its job market, economy, and people. In the year 2002 in Israel, some 80,000 families who earned their bread from tourism lost their main source of income resulting from terror. On that year, terror won. In a very unsurprising way, the key goal of terror is to create terror. And being aware of that, terrorist hits tourism destination, trying to create an image that a place would be considered risky, unsafe, or dangerous. But in many cases, the key word here is considered. We need to remember that while a terror hits a certain location, it should not refrain us from visiting other parts of the country. We should remember that having a single terror attack does not mean terror will re-happen again. And lastly, and just in case you are wondering, the number one cause for unnatural death while traveling is transportation accidents. So while it is important to stay away from terrorists, it is of much greater importance to have your seatbelt on. In recent years, a large number of leading tourist destinations were hit by terror. This terror caused negative images for this destination, causing a significant damage to this destination tourism industry. The remedy for these negative images is tourism crisis marketing. In crisis recovery marketing, destination marketing specialists try to recover an image, bring back the tourism, and make the tourism brand come to life again. It is based on the accumulated experience of hundreds of destinations that have undergone crises in the past and using their learnings and their strategies to build a marketing toolbox that can provide destinations with tools to have better success. I have spent over a decade in the systematic analysis of tourism crisis, and I can tell you that the suffering from crises in the past can provide us valuable lessons for the future. One country that suffered from several incidents of terror in recent years is Israel. And Israel was using one of the strategies in this toolbox of geographic disassociation. In this strategy, places that are located in a region which is considered to be problematic, try to disengage themselves from that region in order to protect their image. The city of Tel Aviv, which is globally known for its sunny, beautiful beaches, startup companies, and lovely cuisine, has been using this strategy. Following that, the 2016-2017 campaign for Israel invites us for a refreshing city break in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem.
Two cities, one break. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. Book your trip now.
This beautiful campaign has it all. Bikinis, beautiful scenery, rich history and culture, all except for one thing: the word Israel. Another country that suffered from terror in recent years is Kenya. In the year between 2012 to 2014, a series of terror incidents hit the country, causing the loss of many lives and a significant damage to the country's tourism industry. One of these attacks that received the most attention happened on the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya. On a peaceful Saturday afternoon, a group of terrorists stormed into this shopping mall, shooting with AK-47 and throwing grenades at innocent shoppers. The shooting inside the shopping mall continued for over 48 hours. And as the attack ended, 67 people lost their lives and some 175 were injured. Trying to shake off the terror from its image, Kenya decided to focus on the social media. While the country was associated with terror on the news media, it was eager to show the world using social media that this is far from being the case. Using the hashtag #WhyILoveKenya, tourists that visiting Kenya and members of the tourism industry were all invited to upload stories to social media and tell the world why they love Kenya. This campaign turned into a success, and on Instagram alone, some over 50,000 stories were uploaded, sharing with the world how Kenya is magical, beautiful, and peaceful. In this campaign, Kenya managed to battle the impacts of terror using smartphones and the hashtag. Another strategy in our toolbox is to use an alternative source market, such as the place's residents. When a message is being delivered to us by marketers, we all treat it very cautionally. Yet, when a message about a destination comes from the place's residents, it is not only favorable, but it is also trustworthy. In January 2016, this strategy was put into use by the city of Brussels. A few weeks earlier, the city of Brussels was under a security lockdown due to information about a possible terror attack. Resulting from this information, schools, shops, public transportation were all closed, and a sharp damage was closed to the place's image, and a sharp decline happened on tourism and business. Using the media strategy of using an alternative source market, Brussels launched a beautiful campaign called Call Brussels. In this campaign, 3 phone cabins were placed in central locations around Brussels, and people from all over the world were encouraged to visit the campaign website, call a passerby, and ask them how Brussels is. Is it safe to come to Brussels?
Hello, do you speak English?
Yeah.
Did you see some people fighting with gun or bomb on the street.
Oh my God, no way!
The people who called these potential tourists learn from the people of Brussels how Brussels really is. Not how it is portrayed in the news media, but the way it really is from the people who really live there. And there's a huge difference in that. Terror acts end very quickly, but their impacts may last for months or years. Terror acts are not only aimed at people, but also at tourism jobs and the place's economy. Terror acts take dozens or hundreds of victims, but affect the life of millions. When we follow terror acts, when we are following terror, the acts, and the feeling, we let terror win. When we cancel a travel plan, stay at home, we let the tourist to get what they want. They want to create a new distorted order in the world. And when we cancel our travel plans, we make this order to take place. When, on the other hand, we choose to visit destinations that were hit by crisis, we take an active role in the battle against the impact of terror. By visiting the place, we help the tourism economy to recover. We help to shatter the negative stereotypes that were created about the destination. And we help these icebergs we mentioned earlier to melt. In this battle against tourism, we're not using camouflage suits or AK-47s, but bathing suits and little cocktail umbrellas. The recovery marketing toolbox is an essential aid for destinations that are undergoing a crisis. It helps us to show the world the uniqueness of beauty of places such as the Dead Sea in Israel, or Kenya, or Brussels, or other places. And to take this whole toolbox and try to sum it into a few pieces of advice, I like to remind you that there are 4 major things that we can do when we are facing such crisis. Firstly, we need to remember that the reality is the cause of the negative images. And if we have a problematic reality, the most effective way to handle the image problem is to make the reality of the destination safer, of course, as much as it is possible. We need to be sure to be very proactive on our marketing, to act fast, develop a market strategy, and see whatever we can do to make the recovery as fast and effective as possible. Destinations should create a positive stream of news that will flood the news media and make the negative news seem less and less and less significant. And lastly, we should work in different directions, using different strategies, different tactics, and different channels, such as social media, the place's residents, public relations, event, influencer marketing, and other available tools in our toolbox. Using these guidelines, destinations aim to step out from the darkness of terrorism into the bright sunny light of tourism. For the light of tourism to shine, few things should take place. Local stakeholders should conduct every possible effort to make sure that the destination is super safe to welcome tourists. Destination marketing should do an outstanding job in convincing us that the destination is indeed safe. And we, as tourists, should pack up and travel, bringing with us light to battle the darkness, smiles to battle the fears, and a smartphone so we can share the world's beauty and battle stereotypes. It is within our hands to let terrorism win or lose. Travel and let tourism take over terrorism. Thank you.